Imagine for a moment that every decision you've ever made, every step you've ever taken, every success or failure you've experienced, started in the invisible world of your mind. That voice in your head, the one that whispers doubts, fears, and you can't, is more powerful than any external circumstance. And here's the truth, that voice isn't your enemy, it's a reflection of your beliefs, your conditioning, and the habits you've allowed to take root. But what if I told you that you don't have to be a passenger in your own mind? What if I told you that you have the ability right now in this moment to take control of that voice, to direct it, to turn it into the most powerful ally you will ever have, the power to break free from self-doubt, to ignite unstoppable momentum, to finally achieve what you've always dreamed of. It begins with mastering your inner dialogue. Today, we're going to step into that power. Today, we're going to rewrite the story your mind is telling you. Because the moment you take control of your inner voice, you take control of your life. Key point number 1 is all about awareness of your inner voice, the subtle, persistent dialogue that runs in the background of your mind. Most people go through life unaware of the incredible influence this internal narrative has over their emotions, choices, and ultimately their destiny. Every thought, every self-judgment, and every internal commentary shapes the way you perceive the world, and more importantly, the way you act within it. Awareness begins with noticing this voice without judgment, simply observing the patterns it creates, the tone it carries, and the frequency with which it repeats itself. Many people have a critical, doubting, or fearful inner voice that operates so consistently that they mistake it for objective truth, never realizing that it is a programmed response built from past experiences, societal conditioning, or even casual comments from influential figures in their lives. The first step toward mastering your inner world is to recognize that this voice exists and that it is not necessarily a reflection of reality. It is merely a filter through which you interpret your experiences. When you heighten your awareness, you begin to see the difference between thoughts that serve you and those that hold you back. You start to notice the moments when fear tries to paralyze you, when doubt attempts to convince you to quit, or when negative self-talk sabotages your confidence and momentum. Awareness allows you to pause and create space between the stimulus of life and your response to it. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see the obstacles, the patterns, and the opportunities that were previously hidden in the shadows. Developing this awareness is not a passive process. It requires active engagement and practice. It may involve daily reflection, journaling, meditation, or simply taking deliberate moments to check in with yourself. The more consistently you observe your inner voice, the easier it becomes to distinguish between the thoughts that empower you and those that limit you. You start to see the habitual loops your mind falls into and realize that you are not a victim of your thoughts, but rather their master if you choose to be. This clarity provides the foundation for transformation because you cannot change what you cannot see. By cultivating awareness of your inner dialogue, you are effectively planting the seeds of self-mastery, learning to listen without automatically reacting, and beginning to take conscious control over the forces that shape your emotions, actions, and outcomes in life. Key point number 2 focuses on the power of choice, the extraordinary ability each of us has to decide which thoughts to nurture and which to dismiss. Most people underestimate this power, assuming that their inner voice is an uncontrollable force, a random stream of consciousness that dictates their emotions and actions. The truth is that you are not a passive observer in your own mind. You are the director, the one who decides which ideas take center stage and which fade into the background. Every time a thought arises, whether it is doubt, fear, excitement, or hope, you have a choice. You can give it attention and energy, allowing it to grow, or you can consciously redirect your focus toward a thought that serves your purpose and elevates your potential. Making this choice is not always easy because the mind has a tendency to default to familiar patterns, often rooted in past experiences or ingrained beliefs. Negative self-talk or limiting narratives often feel automatic, as though they are inevitable reactions to life's challenges. But when you recognize that each thought is a choice point, you gain access to an enormous reservoir of personal power. Choosing which thoughts to engage with allows you to shape your emotions, your behavior, and ultimately your destiny. It means consciously rejecting the stories that tell you you can't or this is impossible, and instead embracing the narratives that remind you of your strength, resilience, and capacity to overcome obstacles. The power of choice also extends to the way you interpret events. Life will always present challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties, but your response to them is never predetermined. By choosing empowering interpretations rather than destructive ones, you take control of the emotional impact of any situation and maintain clarity and momentum toward your goals. This is not about denying reality or ignoring difficulties. It is about recognizing that your internal response can either limit you or propel you forward. When you consistently practice this conscious selection of thoughts, your inner voice transforms from a reactive, chaotic force into a deliberate, focused instrument of achievement. You begin to see that every moment is an opportunity to exercise this power of choice, to reinforce beliefs that elevate your life, and to weaken those that hold you back, creating a mental environment where growth, confidence, and success can flourish. And in doing so, you gradually shift the balance of power in your mind from fear to mastery, from doubt to certainty, and from passivity to deliberate action. Key point number 3 revolves around overcoming limiting beliefs, those invisible barriers that silently shape your decisions, your behavior, and the very trajectory of your life. Limiting beliefs are often so deeply ingrained that they feel like undeniable truths, yet they are nothing more than assumptions, habits of thought, and interpretations of past experiences that no longer serve you. These beliefs tell you what you can or cannot do, what you deserve or don't deserve, and they often operate below the level of conscious awareness, influencing your actions without you even realizing it. The first step in overcoming them is identifying them. You must become an investigator of your own mind, observing the recurring thoughts and patterns that undermine your confidence and restrict your potential. Statements like, "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," or "I don't have what it takes" are classic examples of limiting beliefs that people carry with them for years, often without questioning their validity. Once identified, these beliefs can be challenged and reframed. You have the power to question their origin, to ask yourself whether they are based on facts or merely on perceptions that have been accepted as truth. Often, you'll find that these limitations are illusions, products of fear, habit, or external influence, rather than objective reality. Reframing these beliefs involves consciously replacing them with empowering alternatives that support your growth and align with your potential. It's not enough to simply reject the old belief. You must install a new belief that drives action, fosters confidence, and inspires progress. This process is not instantaneous. It requires repeated practice, reinforcement, and self-awareness. Every time you confront a limiting thought and replace it with an empowering one, you are rewiring your mind, gradually shifting the neural pathways that dictate your habitual thinking. The more consistently you do this, the more natural it becomes to respond to challenges with strength and resilience rather than doubt and hesitation. Overcoming limiting beliefs is not just about improving your mindset. It is about creating tangible shifts in your life. Your beliefs determine your actions produce results, and your results reinforce your beliefs. By breaking free from the chains of limiting thoughts, you unlock new possibilities, expand your potential, and open yourself to experiences that previously seemed unattainable. And as you begin to recognize that the only limits that truly exist are the ones you accept, you gain the freedom to pursue your goals with unwavering confidence, courage, and determination. Key point number 4 focuses on the transformative power of positive self-talk, the deliberate practice of using your inner voice as a tool for motivation, growth, and achievement. Most people underestimate the impact of the words they speak to themselves daily, failing to realize that the language of the mind shapes the language of their actions. Every thought you nurture has the potential to either empower you or limit you. When your inner voice constantly criticizes, doubts, or belittles, it creates a mental environment of fear and hesitation, making it difficult to take bold steps or pursue meaningful goals. Positive self-talk, on the other hand, rewires your brain, strengthens your confidence, and fuels the drive necessary to achieve extraordinary results. It is more than just repeating affirmations. It is about cultivating a mindset that consistently reinforces your abilities, resilience, and potential. This process begins with awareness, catching yourself in moments of negative thinking and consciously redirecting your words toward encouragement, possibility, and solution-oriented perspectives. For example, instead of telling yourself, "I can't handle this," you can choose to say, "I can learn from this challenge and grow stronger." Over time, these small but intentional shifts in language reprogram your brain, replacing fear and doubt with courage and determination. Positive self-talk also strengthens emotional resilience. Life is unpredictable, filled with setbacks, failures, and unforeseen obstacles, but the voice you choose to hear in these moments determines how you respond. By speaking to yourself with kindness, encouragement, and unwavering belief in your capabilities, you create an internal foundation that can withstand external pressure. This internal dialogue serves as both a coach and a cheerleader, pushing you to take action even when the path seems uncertain. Furthermore, positive self-talk shapes your perception of the world around you. When you consistently focus on potential, opportunity, and solutions, you begin to notice possibilities that were previously invisible. You attract circumstances and people aligned with growth because your mindset signals readiness, confidence, and determination. The power of this practice compounds with repetition. Each time you deliberately choose empowering words over limiting ones, you reinforce neural pathways that support success, making positivity, focus, and resilience your default state. By mastering positive self-talk, you turn your inner voice from a source of doubt into an engine of achievement, creating a mental landscape where confidence, motivation, and opportunity flourish. And as this voice grows stronger and more consistent, you begin to realize that the quality of your thoughts dictates the quality of your life, influencing every choice, action, and outcome you pursue. Key point number 5 emphasizes the importance of consistency and discipline in mastering your inner voice, highlighting that awareness, choice, and positive self-talk are only powerful when applied deliberately and regularly. Mastery over your mind is not a one-time event or a fleeting moment of inspiration. It is a daily practice that requires vigilance, commitment, and unwavering dedication. Just as physical strength is built through repeated exercise and training, mental strength is developed by consistently engaging with your thoughts, monitoring your internal dialogue, and reinforcing empowering beliefs. The mind is naturally inclined toward habitual patterns, often defaulting to fear, doubt, and negativity unless consciously redirected. This is why discipline is critical. It allows you to interrupt automatic responses and replace them with intentional, constructive ones. Consistency amplifies the impact of every choice you make regarding your inner voice. Each time you catch a negative thought and reframe it, each time you replace self-doubt with self-empowerment, and each time you commit to positive self-talk, you are reinforcing neural pathways that make these empowering patterns more natural and instinctive. Over time, what once required effort becomes second nature, creating a resilient mindset that can navigate challenges, setbacks, and uncertainties with confidence and clarity. Discipline also involves creating routines and practices that support mental mastery. This may include daily reflection, meditation, journaling, or setting aside intentional moments to evaluate your thoughts and emotional responses. These consistent practices serve as a safeguard against the drift of old limiting patterns, ensuring that your inner voice becomes an ally rather than a saboteur. The cumulative effect of disciplined, consistent effort is profound. It transforms fleeting moments of motivation into sustainable momentum, turning good intentions into lasting change. You begin to notice that challenges no longer intimidate you as they once did because your internal dialogue has been trained to focus on solutions, growth, and resilience rather than fear and limitation. Furthermore, consistency builds trust in yourself. Each day that you choose to engage actively with your inner voice, you reinforce your belief in your capacity to take control, to make empowered decisions, and to shape the trajectory of your life. This sense of self-trust becomes a cornerstone of personal power, fueling confidence and determination in every area of life. Mastering your inner voice is not about perfection or never experiencing doubt. It is about showing up consistently, practicing discipline, and committing to the process of growth. Knowing that each deliberate choice, each conscious effort, and each moment of awareness compounds over time to create a mind that is focused, empowered, and unstoppable. And this relentless dedication to mental mastery transforms not only how you think, but how you live, act, and achieve your highest potential.